When my stomach tells me something, it's usually not actually saying my body needs energy. I've been carnivore for about 5 years, maybe a little longer. And in that whole time, I've had anxiety until recently. And what that has meant for me is that I couldn't do OMAD. My nervous system was begging me to tell it everything's okay. You see, there were no more carbohydrates coming into my body for my brain to go, peace out. It was relying on the protein. And when the protein ran out, it was a little panicky because, well, my body really wasn't used to burning fat. And if you have studied a little bit about lipedema, or you hang around on my channel, and I'll be putting out a little series soon about lipedema, you'll know that it's actually really hard to access a lot of the fat stores on your body. I also have obesity as well as lipedema. So you would think there's a little bit of fat available for energy for me. Apparently not so much. So I did have to keep feeding myself regularly. Not long ago, I was doing 3 meals a day. I was doing a small breakfast just to wake my brain up and say, everything's good, get going with the day. And then I'd have a big meal at lunch, and then I'd want to eat again, maybe around 4 or 5 o'clock. I've been working towards OMAD, but it's been really, really hard. So I took it step by step. The first thing I did was I cut out the end of the day meal, and I made the middle of the day meal a little bit bigger. So that was okay. My nervous system was okay with that. It was good. It took me quite a while before I had the courage and the calm and the peace to say, you know what? I think I feel good enough to not eat the breakfast. It wasn't a breakfast full of very much, but it was there. And every time you eat, you're going to be asking your body to produce a little bit of insulin. And a little bit and a little bit and a little bit is just a little bit too much. So, with my goal of OMAD in mind, I did an intermediary step. I did it because I wanted inflammation to go down low in my body, hoping that that would help me burn a little bit more body fat and heal some of the problems that I was still currently having. I wasn't really burning through enough body fat. I was, but it was very slow. And so it wasn't like a constant state of burning body fat where my brain is supplied with ketones constantly through the day, keeping me alive and awake and vibrant. I mean, I'm alive, but when your body's alive opposed to when your brain is alive. And I really wanted to get my brain alive. So I did the one thing that I had been telling myself for a very long time, and I mean years, that I wouldn't ever have to do. I told myself it's time you give up dairy. I never ever thought that I would have to give up dairy. I think I convinced myself I'm okay with dairy because I don't have any gut reactions from dairy. But I might have a little bit of this from dairy, even though I haven't had dairy for about 3 or 4 weeks and I still get this. We'll be working through these issues. I'm pretty sure this is being expelled from my fat cells because I am now burning fat because I have got myself off dairy, off coffee, off stevia. And the reason why I eliminated those last 3 little emotional mainstays is because the coffee doesn't taste good without cream and without stevia. But with it, it's like dessert. And I wanted to be able to notice my energy levels, and I wanted to make sure that the coffee wasn't providing too much of a cortisol rise. So the only way to find out is to get it out of your diet. So I did. I stopped coffee. I put all that stuff in the cupboard, and I don't think about it because it's not in front of me. I put the stevia in the cupboard, and I gave away all the dairy. And since doing that, I'm not as hungry. The sweet taste is no longer necessary. I thought I'd miss it. I don't really miss it. What else have I noticed? Well, I'm just not thinking about food. So when I was including cheese in my food and cream in my coffee, I would be wanting for those things all the time. So it seems I had an addiction to dairy. So addictions can come for all different reasons, but your brain has gotten used to something. And for me, it was used to something in the dairy. And it would, I may not have had obvious physical reactions to it, but it was encouraging me to eat more and eat more often. Because the dairy was like an enticing food. So it wasn't for nutrition, it was for mouth entertainment. It was for taste bud entertainment. And my brain was getting on board with something in the dairy, was getting a little high from it. And I was getting a dopamine hit by looking forward to it. The anticipation is what brings about the dopamine hit in your brain. So no dairy, no coffee, no stevia. And all of a sudden, I could do OMAD. Only took maybe 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. And then I just didn't, I have to eat. So I ate. And then I decided, I don't feel like eating breakfast. I don't really have time for breakfast today. I'm going to not have breakfast today. And so I just had big lunch. And then it was such a big lunch, then I was not hungry. I didn't want to eat any more food. In fact, one thing I've noticed from going OMAD is because I'm spending probably 20, maybe 22 hours in the cycle of the day, not digesting, I actually feel more comfortable in my body when I'm not digesting. And then I'm not really thinking about food, but I think, if I'm going to eat today, I want to do it now. It's usually around 11 o'clock. So I go into the kitchen and I sort out my plate and I cook anything that I need to cook. I do any dishes that I need to do. I'm done in the kitchen for the day. I don't go back in there unless I need to for my dog or to get some water, filter some water. But the food stuff is generally done for the day. So I'm not getting triggered by looking at food to think about food. And I did notice actually this morning I wasn't hungry. Well, I was hungry very early in the morning, and then that went away. That was just a stomach reminder. I'm empty. But it was sort of still nighttime, so I'm not going to eat now. And then I noticed that went away. Then when I got up and I fed my dog, and his food is in the fridge, my stomach went rawr. And I thought, that's really funny. nice to hear from you. But we're not eating because we don't have time. Now that I'm doing OMAD, my morning schedule is quite different. It doesn't allow for that extra half an hour or 45 minutes that it takes to put food on the plate and make a cup of warm water with some salt and sit down and eat food and then digest food and get the bits out of my teeth and brush my teeth. That takes too much time, and I've already filled that time with other things. And so I just deny my stomach that pleasure. Sorry, stomach, sorry, mouth, you'll have to wait till 11, 12 o'clock. And so that's what I do. But but I'm not actually all that hungry. Which leads me to think that perhaps in a week or two after doing this and it gets ho-hum boring, and it's just me, this is what I do, it's not something I'm doing, it's just what I do. Once it integrates into my identity, my eating identity, then I think I might challenge myself and do a day without eating at all. Just see what happens. And worst case scenario, there's food in the fridge if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm starving. But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm getting the feeling now that I'm not really emotionally connected to the eating because the dairy's gone. And I think that's what it was encouraging. I'm not really thinking about what I'm going to put together on the plate. I even have to make a plate that's got multiple things on the plate, different colors and different shapes and different textures, so that I eat the whole thing, or try to. If I don't, I get through half of that plate and I could stop. But because it's the beginning of my OMAD journey and I don't know how long that food really will last, I'm trying to get myself to eat a plate full of various foods every day and try to get through as much as I can. As soon as I feel disgustingly uncomfortable, I stop and I put it back in the fridge. So nothing's getting reheated. Well, maybe a few things, maybe a pork chop or something. But I do eat a lot of my plate cold, straight from the fridge. So if I don't finish it, I just put it back in the fridge. And it's a lunchtime food, so it's not a problem having cold lunch. One thing, really big thing that I've noticed, that maybe some of you have noticed over time, or you're looking forward to noticing this, is that when my stomach reminds me that it's empty, I am not interpreting that as I need to eat. Used to. Every time I used to. I used to interpret my stomach grinding or growling or doing a bit of a squeeze as, oh, I need to eat. Lately, because of understanding that if I eat, then I'm going to have to digest for a couple of hours. And that couple of hours is actually a bit uncomfortable because my brain doesn't work as fast. And so the work that I'm going to do in the next 2 hours, unless I take 2 hours off in the middle of the day, which I don't really have time to do, it's just going to be slow, going slow, and my mind wandering off, and I'm just not able to concentrate in a nice little band because all the energy and the digestion is taking priority at that time. So there's that's informing it. I don't really want to go slow multiple times a day. I only want to go slow one time a day. And I do understand why people do that at dinner time, because they would rather their digestion going slow time to be later in the day where they're probably going to watch some TV or some YouTube, or play a game or read a book, or it doesn't matter if they fall asleep and they're tired from the day anyway. I, however, would like to eat during the day so that I don't have to wait until the end of the day to deal with the food. I kind of want it done in the morning, and if I could manage to do it even earlier, I probably would. And I might work on that. I might work on my morning schedule and see if I can get the food in at 10 o'clock. And then by midday, I'm back to full power. Well, I thought I would show you what I'm eating. 1 meal a day for 4 days. Have you ever wondered what one curious carnivore eats in a day? Well, right now, I'm doing OMAD. So you can see I fill up a big plate full of food, lots of variety, and I try to get through it. And sometimes I get a little bit ambitious. So sometimes I'm really hungry. It is only once a day. Anyway, I try to make the food all a bit different on the plate so that my brain gets a little excited to eat a little bit more and eat a little bit more. And sometimes I'm successful. Sometimes I just don't put so much on the plate. So my way of doing this, because I'm a bit European, is that I prepare foods. I cook one thing, it lasts me maybe 3 or 4 or even 5 days because I eat just a little bit of it. I do flatbreads, I do chicken livers sometimes. This time I just found it at the bottom of the freezer, so I thought, hey, I'll make that. We've got pork chops, and we've got egg terrine, we've got dehydrated egg yolk, and dehydrated sardines. And all of this stuff is just sitting in my fridge, and when I run out of something, I just make some more. And of course, I make butter mayo. Thank you to all the recipe makers and cooks on YouTube, because you've taught me how to create really beautiful plates of food. So the reason why I don't just have pan-fried mince and a couple of eggs on top is because I actually get bored. And I won't eat as much. And if I'm only eating once a day, I want to make sure I get a variety of nutrition. Because I don't want to count anything. I don't want to keep track of anything. I want it to be really simple. Because my life is about being curious about other things. Not really about food. These are just foods that I've worked out how to make from eggs and fish, and eggs and fish, and a bit of butter, and a bit of gelatin, and a bit of salt. So you can see I'm recycling the food, and then if I don't have enough, like I didn't have enough of the egg bread and the pate, I just got out a meat cookie and put some pate on that one. Kind of a fun way to eat. And I think life should be a little bit fun. And see, carnivore isn't restrictive like people say. You just got to get your head around it. You got to get your heart in the right place, and you got to know what's good for you and put all that together. And if you can learn to do one thing, then you can learn to do the next thing, and you can learn to do another thing. So on this plate, I decided to get a little creative by putting the egg yolks on top of the egg terrine. Woohoo! And of course I'm finishing off the butter mayo from the day before, because I always put too much in the dish. And we do have some beautiful dehydrated sausages, and the sardines are going down a treat. The little ones are very nice. So that's what I do. And I'm really happy, and I'm really healthy. When my stomach tells me something, it's usually not actually saying my body needs energy. It's saying I'm empty. If my brain is really tired, then perhaps my body needs energy. If I'm feeling cold, then perhaps my body needs some energy. But if my stomach is growling, I don't think that's my interpretation of your growl. I don't think the stomach knows how to be anything other than a clock. And I witnessed this in my dog. He has a clock in his stomach, and I think the stomach will say, yeah, give me food. Oh, look, we should eat about now, or we've been empty for quite a while. That's what the stomach will tell you. And I can understand why it's designed to tell you that, because way back when we didn't have a plentiful amount of food, we would be reminded, don't get complacent and live on your body fat and your ketones that are making your brain really happy. Go get some food. However, we don't have to hunt for food, and we don't have to search out the food find the bushes and the herbs and the plants and the roots in the ground. We just have food in the fridge all the time. We have to use our awake mind, our consciousness, and parent ourselves Be realistic. As you get older, you don't actually need as much food, and you need more of that food to be protein. And you need to do things with your food to make your body work for you, work well for you. Otherwise, you're not going to feel very good. You're going to have aches and pains, and you're going to have a disincentive from living your life at a time in your life where you have all the experience and wisdom that you've gathered from perhaps 30 or 40 or 50 years of living on this planet. And yet you may have a body that's not going to motor you around very easily and enjoy that wisdom in the world. So this is why I keep working really hard and keep thinking about the food holistically. I don't think about what I'm going to eat next. I think about what I should buy to have in the fridge, and therefore what I cook with and what I can make so that it's really easy when it's time to eat to just take out what I need, put it on the plate, an eyeball measure, and then go eat it. That's my strategy. And I have to tell you, since going OMAD, at the same time as going OMAD, I also have started weighing myself, which I haven't done for many, many years. So that's another little journey in itself. But I have been OMAD for a week, and I have been weighing myself every day for a week. And I am no water weight loss. This is fat, body fat weight loss, 2.1 kilos down. So what I'm doing for now, for me, is working. And it makes me very happy to share it with you. I'm not telling you this so that you do exactly what I do, because I'm a different person than you. But you have the nous. You have the information. You have access to the people. You can figure out what you need to do to be able to live the life that you want to live. And that's what this is all about. Be your own experiment. Ask the questions that you need to know. Ask them when you need to know them. Don't shy away from gathering with your carnivore community. If you need a coach, get a coach. If you need to go into an online group, go into an online group. You need to go live with one of the carnivore doctors, go live. Set your alarm. Get yourself there. Ask your questions. Put in your super chats. Make sure you have the information that you require at the time that you require it, because that's how learning works. And that's how you get more motivated to keep moving and changing and making decisions for you, for your life. That's what this whole thing is about. You want to become autonomous. You want to become wiser. And you will become happier as you do that. Promise.